Following the March 25th meeting in the cabinet room with the delegation from South Vietnam, President Ford convened all of his top advisors in that same room. Henry Kissinger, Ambassador Graham Martin was there, Secretary of Defense, and with him would be General Fred Weyand, who was the four-star general, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the top American general officer, and an individual who I had known and had met in Vietnam when he was the deputy commander of MACV, and I was working in the MACV headquarters. So the decision was taken that General Weyand would lead a mission urgently, a presidential mission, to go to South Vietnam, take Ambassador Martin back with him, and to urgently assess the situation, determine what could be done to bolster our South Vietnam allies during this extremely dangerous and difficult moment, this crisis. And I would be on the mission, given my job at the NSC, my 6 years experience in country, and my ability to speak Vietnamese. So we take off, not on one of those plush Air Force special planes like Air Force One and Two, but on a C-141 cargo transport plane fitted with some seats and some bunks, and we fly all night and land at midnight in Saigon at Tan Son Nhat Airport. We're met there by the Deputy Chief of Mission, Wolfgang Lehmann, who had been my boss in Military Region 4, and the Consul General in Can Tho, and the head of the CIA station in Saigon. And as I got off and I was standing there with the Chief of Station of the CIA, and we had a private conversation in which he expressed the hope that now, in this dark situation, and it was very dark at Tan Son Nhat that night, all the lights turned off for security, he hoped that the president, or that the ambassador, would be able to see how truly critical the situation was, because the ambassador's history among those who worked in the embassy was that he tended to view pessimistic assessments as overly so, and usually more worrisome than was really the situation. And that, so there we are. Tom Polgar was the Chief of Station. He and I are talking about that, and that issue would come to the fore over the next several days as the delegation was there, and while it was meeting with very high-level people, including President Thieu, I was out speaking to a different array of people who were there and getting my own take, my own impression on it. Also traveling with us was David Kennerly, the president's photographer, a war correspondent, war photographer, who had a lot of time in Vietnam. He and I had gotten to know each other on this flight, on a previous visit to Vietnam, and both he and I were invited to stay at the ambassador's residence. And so we went there, and I would spend the next 4 or 5 days living and working out of Ambassador Graham Martin's residence, gathering information and trying to convince him of just how desperate the situation was and how quickly the end could come.